me so wild. How can I ever deny?
Ed Tierney with Kurt Forsyth comes to you from Florham Park Athletic, Lifetime Athletic in Florham Park. Made no sense, but hey, we're gonna go anyway with it. Tonight we had 3 games. A little Monday. What do you think about the Monday games? You know, we did it last week. What do you think about this week?
This week, it's turning into like a little March Madness. We've had
Yes.
we've
Yeah.
16, 17 games in 3 weeks. Everybody's excited. Everybody's sticking around. I mean, we had a late game tonight, but there was a crowd.
Yeah, a lot of people were there for the late game. So let's go right into the first game. We had the winless Little Giants taking on the 2-win Downtown team. Downtown eventually would have 5. They started off for the first 4 minutes with 4. Big Dominic Pacelli came and they played 5-on-4. The Little Giants had Gail tonight, Gail from Providence.
A pickup.
A nice little pickup there, and she delivered tonight.
Well, we said it last week. Every team has an opportunity. Little Giants coming into this week hadn't won a game.
Mm-hmm.
We said last
With
week.
4 guys.
Hey, we said last week anything could happen, and it happened this week.
And it happened, and they Gail had over 20.
Yeah,
double-digit rebounds.
It was a big night for her.
Mark Palumbo had 18. Gail likes the contact. She doesn't mind.
Right.
I'm not gonna say females in general, but she doesn't mind going down low.
No, she plays in the post. She's strong.
She does play. She is very strong. And Mark was happy about that first win.
Hey, Mark brought the intensity tonight. I've never seen it. I mean, he was yelling, he was screaming, he was doing everything he needed to do.
Yeah, podcast was in the house.
he did predict it earlier.
I don't know if he predicted it, but he said that he was looking. He was hoping.
Self-proclaimed
best player in the league, and players win. Best players win.
He delivered.
So we'll go to the middle game. Probably the most attention, of the night is going to be the game UOENO taking on Straight Raw. Straight Raw added Damian Kolb.
Right.
And although it was past the deadline, a couple of guys, go to college.
Right.
So they got to fill out the roster. So this is Damian Kolb's homecoming, his coming back party.
Yeah.
This was his night, and you talked to me about what happened.
Wow.
In the podcast, we talked about, new things to the league. One of them was Jordan Marcus.
Right.
Eddie was big. Jordan Marcus, big guy.
Extraordinary three-point shooter.
And you'll see that podcast later this week when we talk about Jordan Marcus. That was earlier. But talk to us about the game.
Well, I mean, Jordan really, he didn't turn it on right away. But second half, he really came out. He was shooting. He was knocking down shots. I mean, Straight Raw, they just had no answer for him tonight. I mean, even they tried switching. They tried 3-2. They tried 2-3. They tried man. Just nothing was working for them.
Unlike a 119-point performance with the highlights, they were actually playing defense tonight.
Yeah.
And, he wasn't missing. He was hitting 2, 3, 4, 5 shots in a row.
They were swishes. They were nothing but net.
And, he scored 61 points. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal
to
see.
That's a regional
record. Yeah. The club record was, which, you know what, we got a paper out there I got to redo now because it's
update.
It's the old record, but
get him to sign it.
It was Hendershot with 53. Mm-hmm. He's not gonna be happy about that.
No.
But then Ming Wong and Sayasa had 57.
Right.
And now we have 61. Yeah. First time 60's been broken. 50's been broken a bunch.
Right.
In either Long Island or in Florham Park, but 60's never been broken.
Right. With the NBA 3.
The NBA 3, yes, as opposed to Sayasa is the Sayasa New York is the college line. We don't have the NBA 3 there, but the NBA 3 he was swishing them.
Significant difference.
Significant. You know what? I'll say this though about the NBA 3 compared to the college. I think when you take our guys and bring them to a college 3, I think they'll get more shooting happy.
Right.
And they just take bad shots.
They forget how to play. They forget how to
move. They get so their eyes light up. And they just
let it fly. Yeah.
But also going. How did Eddie played very well today too.
Eddie did. He shot well. He made good passes. Saw open courts. I mean,
they scored 126 points, which off the top of my head might be the record, or it might be 128 by Straight Raw.
Okay.
Ironically enough.
Right.
But they played a free agent team.
Right.
I think it's 128. I'm not. No, I don't remember.
It's up there.
It's up there. Yes. It's up there. Scored 126 points. Jordan scored 61 of them. They still had 60 points from other players. Eddie, Phil, Quash, everyone contributes tonight. Moving forward though, you think this team is legit? You think this team can contend? Knowing the Rock Nation, which was off tonight, Monstars, Vivid Solar.
Well, we mentioned it last week. UNO is an excellent outside shooting team. Mm-hmm. And tonight was a great example of everybody just doing a little bit of everything, but everybody stepping back, hitting threes, and just it went from
Making
a
the
close
open
game,
pass.
that too.
You
Hitting the
know,
open person,
yep,
open person hitting the
yep.
shot,
Mhm.
and like I said, it's going to be difficult if they're all shooting like this to actually beat them.
Yeah, they made the extra pass, found the open man. They played defense when they had to. Obviously, late in the game when it was a
Yeah,
25-30. I mean, within a 5-minute period, it went from a 20 to a 40-point game.
It was the Jordan Marcus
Like
show.
that. Like I mean, I was watching. It was 20, then it was 25, then. They were straight raw wasn't giving in. They weren't gonna let
No,
it.
they
They
wanted to
played very
play.
intense. John hit 2 straight threes. And it didn't
Yeah.
even look like it made a dent in the score.
No, well, I mean, it was already like a 30-point game
Yeah,
at that point.
but it's still, it just showed you that Straight Raw was still playing. They still scored 80
Well, they still wanted
points.
to make it a close game.
They did. They played hard defense. And the funny thing is, UOENO, they were shooting the ball. Like, you figured the last possession, they were going to give it right to Jordan. Phil took 2 shots, and
Yeah.
Eddie took a shot, so,
Well, they make you play defense all around.
Final game, 5-0 Vivint Solar taking on the 3-2 Monstars earlier on the podcast, available later this week on iTunes. It's a plug right there. Ryan McPherson said that he guarantees they're going to win tonight.
Guaranteed to win.
And, Vivint Solar came into the game. I don't know what happened. They didn't look like the normal team. Their defense was poor tonight. They didn't play good defense.
Well, this was my first time seeing a full
game.
game.
Okay.
I've seen bits and pieces
pieces.
here and there.
Mhm.
I mean, from what I'd seen on the scores, it obviously didn't look like they were playing their regular game.
Yep.
But I mean, still, every night you got to come out, you got to
Yeah.
play, you got to compete.
It's just
So-
one of those, I think they had an off night.
Yeah.
If you have an off night, you have to take it on versus one of the lower teams, but you can't have an off night against the Monstars.
No,
Especially with McPherson
right.
slicing and dicing.
Well, I mean, also Vivint Solar at the top of our league, being undefeated. Every night you play, everybody's bringing their A game.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming in to say, "Oh, we'll see what happens." Everybody wants to knock you off. Everybody wants to be that, that elf.
I think the fact that Vivint Solar is not from the area, no one really knows them.
Right.
They kind of like this, like, who the hell are these type guys
Yeah.
feeling? And I think the fact that, there was an article written about them last week, they went to 5-0. I think more and more people are now getting, Vivint Solar's on the radar.
Right.
And, they had a poor game. The shots weren't hitting. Long and Brown, they weren't hitting their shots. Air balls even.
Mhm.
I haven't seen that. Just weren't making free throws. Defense.
Mhm.
It was just, it was just a poor overall game.
Right.
And that happens,
Yeah.
It's in summertime. Things
It's
happen.
unfortunate, but for us watching to go from a game where you had 5-on-4 with an exciting end,
Yeah, crazy.
then
end.
followed up by
A
61-point performance,
massacre.
and then to follow it up tonight with the last game being, I don't want to call it an upset, but a great game.
It was very
You
good.
know.
The score does not indicate the style of
No,
game.
it was
I
a
think
physical game. It was back and forth.
Back and forth.
A lot of great moves, great plays, people cutting backdoors, all that kind of good stuff. It was a lot of great basketball. So from start to finish, every game had something that you could be excited about.
There's a lot of guys chirping on the sideline. If there's one thing about Flown Park, the guys like to talk.
Oh, tomorrow during pickup, it's going to be all over. It's
About Jordan.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's going to be about Jordan. It's going to be about Vivint Solar losing.
Vivint Solar, the knock on them is they're a little too aggressive.
Mhm.
They're chippy.
Mhm.
Some even call them dirty.
Mm.
What is your take on that?
I think
Going
it's-
from this one game, though.
Going from this one game, I personally like a physical game as
Mhm.
long as it's clean.
Mhm.
And there were only a couple instances where I kind of like, ooh, that's a little questionable. But you know what? Those were also the calls where the refs blew the whistle and they had something to say. So they really kept it in check and allowed them to play physical, but also a clean game. So from what I saw, I can't say that they're dirty. I just think they like to
I
play
agree.
physical and they hustle.
They're very physical. They hustle. The one guy, Taylor, he's listed at 200.
Mm.
We both know he must be wearing cement blocks if he's 200.
He's
I've never
not-
seen a guy
he's
every
not 200.
twice, 3 times a half he's diving for a ball.
Right.
But back to the whole dirty thing, I don't think they're dirty. I think they play very physical. They play very hard, and they're going to take what they're given. The
Yeah.
ref gives them a little bit.
Right.
Ref gives them some leeway. They're going to keep pushing it, and then when the ref calls it, then they'll slow it
Well,
down. a
I
little bit.
think that was also a learning curve for Monstars coming into this game because
Oh,
last
yeah.
game they really got pushed around.
Well, now they had Scott. They didn't have Nick the first game.
That's true, but
I don't think they had. They didn't have. They had G the first
they
game.
had Jay, but just we'll pick on one player, Wayne.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was a
no,
lot more physical this game than he was the first
Ryan
game.
played well both games. Wayne wasn't physical the first game. Wayne was settling for the outside shot. He was
Right.
settling for the the 15, 16-footer.
Right.
Kind of afraid to go. Not afraid. I'm not gonna say that, but he wasn't as aggressive.
Right.
And we talked about this. He started off not
started
aggressive,
off, yeah.
and that's when Vivid Solar was up 11-0.
Right. Real quick.
Just like that, 11-0. And then I think he realized he had to.
He was their only big man at that point.
He had to get big, and it showed. He was very aggressive, blocking shots, disrupting shots, altering shots.
He protected the basket very well.
Very well tonight.
Very
It's and he had a big dunk.
Right.
I think it's one of the better games for Wayne on the season, or in the last couple of seasons.
I would agree with you.
It may not show up at the scoreboard, but like you said, he protected the rim, and he definitely changed the game. I think without him, they probably don't have the same outcome.
No.
But Vivid Solar's now 5-1. We're gonna end on this. They take on Downtown Little Giants. There's a good chance they'll go 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe they could be 5-3. They could be 6-2. They could be 7-1. If they go 7-1, they clinch the #1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So although they lost tonight, they've beat every team that they had to. They beat Monstars before.
Right.
So they've split. They beat Rock Nation. They've easily taken out Straight Raw, which all of a sudden seems to be the thing to do in the league. Where do you think? Give me before we end. What do you think is going to be your seven seeds for the playoffs?
I think I see Vivid Solar staying at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I think followed by UNEO.
I can see that.
By
because they only have one loss.
They only
Monsters
have
have
one
two.
loss.
Yep.
Yes,
So right
yes.
now the ball's in their court
Followed by Monstars.
at 3.
Fourth, I would put Rock Nation.
Wow. Rock Nation had
Well, Rock. The difference so far between Rock Nation and those top 3 teams has been the physical inside play.
Mm-hmm. I think Rob
what
Sargent
they're
is
missing.
physical, but
He's one person. They need
He's only one
they need
person.
a bunch of people
And,
crashing the boards.
look at the numbers. Corrigan, James Von Bischhausen, Scott Deal. Look at the numbers from Berkeley to here. It's look at them.
Staggering.
Go home and look
They're
at them. They're
staggering.
staggering difference.
You know what? I think it's been an eye-opening experience for them to come from a league where they kind of know everybody and they're used to playing pickup and they're used to kind of running things, to step into a league where they maybe have seen or heard of 1 or 2 people, but then to realize from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say top to bottom. From the top 5 teams are easily better than
Even
I'd
I think the Little Giants even would be a better fit in the Berkeley League. I think they would hold their own easily.
I would think I feel like they would be one of the better teams in the
And then Downtown, a lot of those guys have played here before.
Right.
So it's not as eye opening. They haven't had success, but I think they know when they're getting themselves. They ran very well at the Monstars last week.
Well,
Downtown.
they came out, they played hard, they knew what it was going to be from the jump of the ball,
Yep.
and they just
But
played.
you know what? Back to what we're saying. Look at Scott Deal, who was shooting like 10% coming into this game. He was shooting terribly, and then James Von B.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
percentages are down like 15%. Corrigan's are down.
This is
Numbers
not
are down.
This is not a pure jump shooting league. You need to be able to put the
You
ball on the
need-
floor.
Yep.
You gotta go grab rebounds. You gotta make tough layups because sometimes you're gonna get smacked. Refs aren't gonna call it. They may not see it.
It's tough.
You never know. So it's a little different than Berkeley.
It's a lot different than Berkeley. Yeah. So that is our wrap up. We got games Wednesday. Should be
Yes.
exciting as always. Live from the park. Any last things, Kurt? 61 points.
That's
A guy scored 119 points. Like,
double. He just about
we
doubled
were in
that.
awe of this. There's a lot of sketchiness with that. We'll get into that later. For Kurt, what are you gonna say? You gonna say something about that?
No, hey,
I think it's fake.
have to
It's
I
false.
have to just trust that the stats and the crew, they did what they had to do, and everything's on the up and up. I'm gonna leave it at that.
For Kurt, Ed. Hey, another week down. Couple more to go.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We'll be there. It's almost Labor Day. Summer's done.
Hey, fall season's around the corner.
Fall season. Sign up for the fall starting later this week. Have a good night.